Well, good morning, County Council. Welcome to May the 1st. I'd ask Ms. Leger to take the roll call, please.
Yes, thank you, Warden Marriott. Councillor Agar? Councillor Atkinson? Councillor Bushi? Councillor Bradley? Councillor Broad? Councillor Case? Councillor Cook? Councillor Dennis? Councillor Ferguson? Councillor Hand? Councillor Loosely? Councillor McRoberts? Councillor Miller? Councillor Sageman? Councillor Veen? Deputy Warden White? And Warden Marriott.
Present. Thank you. We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, Ottawa, and Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabe. It is through the connection of the Anishinaabe with the spirit of the land, water, and air that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together as treaty people, we have a shared responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all life, protecting the future for those generations to come. I'd ask any member of council to declare pecuniary interest now or where it may arise during the meeting. Seeing none, look for a motion to go in camera for the reasons noted in the agenda. Councillor Loosely and Councillor Sageman seconds. All in favor? That's carried. And I think we're able to go. Good morning again. Welcome back. I'd ask everyone to join me in a moment of silent reflection, please. Thank you. I'd ask Ms. Leger for rise and report of motions of in camera.
Yes, thank you, Warden Marriott. I can report that County Council met in camera this morning for a few minutes to address two matters. First being to review and approve the Lambton County Council in-camera minutes of April 3rd, 2024. Secondly, to review and approve the Committee of the Whole minutes of April 17th, 2024, which included receiving a report and providing instructions with respect to confidential information received by the province, providing instructions with respect to a proposed acquisition in the city of Sarnia, providing instructions with respect to lease negotiations, and then lastly, providing instructions with respect to a development project in the city of Sarnia.
Thank you. Item number 9, delegations. I look for a motion to invite presenters to come forward. Councillor Atkinson and Deputy Warden White seconds. All in favor? That's carried. First, presenters Alison, Maxwell, and Larry Swart will be presenting to County Council regarding the POGG primer. And we'll have 10 minutes. Alison and Larry, come forward, please. Yeah.
Good morning, Warden, Council, staff, and members of the general public. I have some important information I would like to share. My co-presenter is Larry Swart, who will assist with any of the questions afterwards. We are here to discuss the POGG primer, which stands for Peace, Order, and Good Governance. It exposes the public-private partnership fraud that is happening in all towns in Canada. In 1992, Brian Mulroney, leader at the time, signed Canada on to UN Agenda 21, along with 178 countries, because the international agreement promised them big money to go green. Upon his signature, Canada ceased to operate as a nation and became a United Nations member state. Provinces became sub-member states, and all of Canada's cities merged to form United Nations city-states. Did you know Lambton County and its 14 local communities are UN satellite field offices, which are public-private partnerships acting in de facto law? De facto is defined as private, corporate, secret, non-government organizations. By the year 2000, countries, including Canada, were governed by the direction of United Nations, G20, World Economic Forum, and World Health Organization, to name a few. Every organization is a foreign-based NGO, non-government organization, and every member of these organizations are unelected. In 1994, a municipal primer was issued to all local towns on how they were to fraudulently restructure their government through the municipal primer, which was non-binding. All towns adopted it, including Lambton County. Public officials, the mayors and councillors, partnered with a private corporation and appointed a CAO, a Chief Administrative Officer, who helped implement a global agenda instead of a local one. None of the men and women we have elected to govern our affairs on a local level has sworn an oath to public office. We have a few questions that demand answers. Do you understand what oath you were asked to take when you took public office? What jurisdiction are you in, and who's your employer? Who did you swear to serve? A covenant is not an oath with regards to our towns, and declaration of rural appointment official is not an oath. All UN members agreed with financial incentives to partner their existing governments with a sustainable development, non-government NGO that would help their country embrace this new green technology to save the planet. It is a fact that corporations are masquerading as government around the world for profit and for the purpose of governance. We know the role of true government is to act as a trustee for the people, to provide services for the community, to represent its interests. Government is appointed as our trustee to perform administrative services with the men and women in our communities to return benefits to us as beneficiaries. Through our taxes, we enjoy the benefits of roads, schools, and public health services with input from the people in our communities. This is how it is supposed to work. De jure government is always public, legitimate, and in compliance with every aspect of law. Most people would be comfortable in appointing the government as a trustee and, more importantly, working to serve the people. What if the government, serving as our trustee, started serving another master? What if they started acting as beneficiaries, like shareholders? Would we trust them enough to appoint them as our trustee? This is a serious breach of trust and a de facto government of the United Nations public-private partnership with an NGO. It leaves all of us with holding personal liability with everything you agree to sign. We think we are electing a public official for the office of mayor, a public trustee. Instead, we get a global strong mayor with power to veto and override councillors' decisions. In 2017, Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum admitted penetrating our local de jure government using public-private partnerships with local officials, for example, global mayor initiatives. The World Economic Forum incentivizes mayors to bring us in to the global de facto governing system to create 15-minute smart cities and to designate our land to UN green space. The danger is, and any local decision can be made without any public input by only two people, the mayor and the CAO, the Chief Administrative Officer. COVID lockdowns prove that these two officers can not only call an emergency anytime they want, they can put a needle in your arm using a municipal bylaw like a parking ticket. I have friends and family who have been injured by these shots. I ask you, as our public official, if you are not the body in control, who is? Whose orders are you following? It is certainly not coming from the public. So we ask, if the agenda ideologues like you issue climate emergency orders, turn out to be unlawful and beyond your scope and purview, who do you think will be held liable by the people in these communities? We have many questions and we need answers. The facts are public-private partnerships are a fiction and a legal way of lawful local regulatory control. They create de facto laws masquerading as legitimate de jure governments. Excuse me. And lawful officials are granted international status in order to sign huge infrastructure agreements. Usury and fraud are used to create soaring taxes, high inflation rates, bloated bureaucracy, and huge administrative costs are used to bankrupt our coffers, causing massive poverty and to steal your property in land grabs. Evictions from farms and rural areas to help create 15-minute cities with ever-increasing bylaws and restrictions to limit their ability to farm. In 2011, Canadian Security Intelligence Service CSIS Director Richard Fadden warned of foreign countries infiltrating Canada at the municipal levels. So my question to you is, why are you taking orders from foreign influence without question? Because we are told has never been a valid defense. Perhaps this presentation may provide clarity. Canada Incorporated, being a UN member state, has no authorization to implement foreign mandates, policies, treaties, or any agreements that violates our unalienable rights. See Clearfield Doctrine, it's included in the handouts. In summary, in the coming days, mayors and councillors will receive an electronic information packet which will explain the text of this delegation and supporting documentation. We, the people of Lambton County, wish to enter a meaningful, respectful dialogue with our elected officials on this complex and important issue. A meeting with staff, councillors, and the public would be a good starting point. A key to the framework is a list of questions posed to council to guarantee we are not obligated to participate in fraud, nor forced to comply with de facto orders. We have explained the plan and look forward to you to becoming involved in helping us all end the fraud. This unlawful public-private partnership that threaten every one of us today and our future generations. With that, you can work with a lawyer to verify these claims we're making here today. It is now at this point, we really need our elected representatives to step up, step aside, or step down. This is a pivotal opportunity for you to set an example for the rest of the regional and district councils who are hostages to the same situation. You may be granted lawful redemption from past error and poor judgment if you remove yourself from all de facto covenants and restore peace, order, and good governance under affirmation. Thank you for your patience and respect in listening and your active participation for changing our future for the benefit of us all, and we will be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for the presenters? Sorry, we don't take questions from the audience. Seeing none, thank you for your presentation.
Okay.
Second delegation is Dr. Katherine Albion, Executive Director, Western Sarnia-Lambton Research Park, and Derrek Lennox, Managing Partner, Kewin Consulting, will be presenting an update and request to County Council on behalf of CLCDC. Welcome.
Good morning, Warden Marriott and members of Lambton County Council. My name is Katherine Albion. I'm the Executive Director of the Western Sarnia-Lambton Research Park. I'm joined today by Derrek, Lennox, the Managing Partner of Kewin Consulting. The Research Park acquired the services of a results-oriented leading consultant to develop a turnaround plan for the Research Park to take us from our post-pandemic state to a positive recovery. And we thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. At the CLCDC AGM in February, I provided Council with an update of our 2023 accomplishments activities as well as our short-term challenges. Today, we will provide you with a further update regarding our Research Park successes and economic impacts, the exciting leads and opportunities we are receiving, as well as Derrek will be providing his honest assessment of the CLCDC and the implementation of his recommended action plans. The Western Sarnia-Lambton Research Park was established as a technology-based economic development tool to diversify the economy of Lambton County for its future prosperity. The Research Park continually delivers on the mandate that was given to us by Lambton County Council. The Research Park and our tenants create jobs and wealth for the community, and we cultivate innovation resulting in economic growth. We are a very accomplished research park, especially over the last 12 years. We host provincial and federal government leaders to learn about our stories of success. We provide strategic direction and expertise in various technology areas. We host unique STEM learning opportunities for youth and students to inspire and encourage our next generation of local technology leaders. We attract national and international companies to the Research Park to use our labs and pilot plant facilities to develop and demonstrate new technologies. And our tenants invest in Lambton County to the economic benefit of this region. The Research Park's successes have resulted in these huge economic impacts for the county, as shown in some of our key performance indicators. Our tenants continually create new jobs and invest in the county, so these numbers continue to grow every year. We are internationally recognized by our peers due to the economic impacts of our tenants on Lambton County. The Research Park has an extremely bright future. The majority of these leads and opportunities are new to us since January of this year. We are receiving many inquiries related to sustainable chemistry, which is a new focus sector for Lambton County. As a couple of examples, the Research Park and researchers at Western Engineering recently submitted a joint expression of interest research proposal for the development of new technologies to support the local green economy. This would be a multi-year research project that would take place at the Research Park, where we would have faculty, masters, and PhD students scaling up and demonstrating new technologies that would be implemented on the commercial scale in Lambton County for one of our big 5 manufacturing sites. As a more recent example, since the slide deck was submitted last week, the Research Park was contacted by the Deputy Director of the Canadian Investment and Trade Office in Taipei, requesting the Research Park's assistance in the area of biodegradable polymers. They have a Taiwanese company that is interested to expand production in Ontario, as well as invest in Ontario. These are just a couple of the very exciting opportunities that we are seeing at the Research Park that are directly aligned with our Research Park's mandate, as well as the future economic development opportunities and goals of this region. During the pandemic years, we received few inquiries for space for lease. We now regularly receive inquiries on a regular basis, and these are all very promising leads. However, we do require time to transition from this inquiry stage to securing these leads as new tenants.
Thanks, Catherine. Just to cover off some of the points of the analysis that was done and where we outlined the plan to carry on between now and the end of the year, two different areas I wanted to bring up with the council. The first one, there was a number of socioeconomic drivers, factors, situation that led to a situation where we actually have reduced occupancy at the research park. So one of these is the cyclical nature that just goes on. Another one is the result of the pandemic. And those two factors have led to a situation where not just this research park, but almost all research parks and similar organizations across North America and into Europe have been feeling this lag. So where we would like to take a look at is from the socioeconomic elements where we have this post-pandemic work from home, as well as this driving need for new innovation, which I'll come to in a moment. The next element I'd like to kind of show, if you could go to the next slide, is a summary of the current financial situation that we took a look at. Previous to the pandemic, the average occupancy was hitting closer to 95%. Through that time period, that significantly reduced to its current level. And part of our analysis would take a look at what do we need to do to get back up to those higher occupancy levels. And that outlined the next slide, which is basically the three thrusts that this project is going to do in the short run. We're calling it elevating success, with the idea of seeing the park return to its pre-pandemic levels, as we do see that it actually provides a significant economic support for the community. The three thrusts at this stage, the objective one is increasing marketing reach and effectiveness. The previous methods of that were in place were stalled during the pandemic. Now we have to reinvigorate those. Objective two, restructure sufficient capital responsibly. And the third one is to formalize stakeholder linkages and processes where those have potentially changed from pre-pandemic to the current mechanisms. All three of those objectives lead over the short run into the next cycle of strategic planning for the CLCDC, which is coming up towards the end of this year in that kind of manner. So part of this request is part of objective two, which is looking at restructuring sufficient capital in a responsible way. If you could go to the next slide. So as Katherine mentioned earlier, what we're looking for here is runway. And runway based on the fact that in the past it has taken anywhere from 18 to 36 months to get the occupancy back up to the level it was at before. We're going to look at different measures to try to reduce that as much as we can. But what we need based on this current situation is we'll need additional funding between now and March to get us up to an operational break even. And we would also like the support of the council to work with the administration on how do we restructure that gap funding that we need, as well as subsequent funding that we may need to get new tenants in. And some of this involves grants that we're up for, as well as potential leaseholds that will have to be done as new tenants move in. And we will also like support of the council to work with the administration into next year's budget should we need to adjust that amount further.
The Western Sarnia-Lambton Research Park has a strong record of success in creating discoveries that matter. The Western Sarnia-Lambton Research Park and the CLCDC Board of Directors respectfully request Council's careful consideration of today's request so that we can continue to fulfill our legacy as a premier research and technology facility for the benefit of Lambton County and our local communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Councillor Agar, please.
I hate the microphones. Thank you. From what I'm reading and picking up on is you have enough cash for like 4 months left, I'm assuming. And I just wonder, how long have you known that you're that close to running out of cash?
Based on when we came in and started the review, they were looking at it around the time of the AGMs to see how quickly that was coming up to place. But what has happened is a number of the tenants that have been in communications with the potential to renew or the potential to come back in all came at once and sort of left. So they had the opportunity to leave and they took it. And that was not what was expected. So there was a bit of a surprise and a little bit of a, let's just say that we're coming to council as soon as possible with the information that we needed to. If we'd come sooner than this one, it might not have been needed because we were hoping that those leases would have been closed and extended.
Councillor Dennis.
Thank you, Warden Marriott. Through you to Dr. Albion. Thank you for the presentation. I recall from your last presentation that in the year 2023, almost 50 jobs, 46 to be exact, were created from the research park activities. Conservatively speaking, if we assume that the value or the salaries from these jobs are even $50,000, and that's probably being conservative, I wanted to know if it's fair to say that the park, from this fact alone, would have generated $2.3 million in local economic job benefit. If that's the case, and earlier you on one of your previous slides for 2024, how many jobs did you say for 2024? I'm sorry, yeah, was it 3? Sorry, it's probably right in front of me. There we go, direct tech jobs. That's pretty darn good. Like that's, you're ahead of where you were last year. So you're really making strides.
Thank you, Councillor Dennis. So these are the direct technology jobs that would result if these opportunities come to fruition. So these are all very high-tech, highly qualified personnel jobs. So if we realize all of these opportunities when they come to fruition, realizing that we do continue to see more leads and more opportunities coming into the research park, these are the types of jobs and economic impact that will result.
I'm sorry. Even at the 23 numbers, which are historical numbers, 46 jobs that were created, and $50,000 salary, and I'm using that, and that's, I would think that it's fair to say that's conservative. That's roughly $2.3 million in direct local economic benefit. That's pretty darn good. And you know, maybe you may not achieve the target of 384, even if you cut that in half, or even if you quartered it, cut it into a quarter, and that's still pretty darn good. That's pretty good batting average. So kudos to you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Ferguson.
Thank you for the presentation today. Looking through the county and I'm in the East End. Any studies being done on what job spinoff comes out of the east part of the county? We're all paying into it, Ware County, but I'm watching the job creation pretty much go into Sarnia and St. Clair. Have you talked to those two municipalities who are benefiting the most from those job creations and the economic base for putting a brand new plant compared to me paying in to Sarnia and St. Clair? Any studies? Could you come back with that sometime?
Please.
That's an excellent point, Councillor. And part of this phase leading up into the strategic planning phase, which would happen in the next few months, would be to gather those questions that the various councillors would like to have as part of decision support going into next year's 5-year strategic plan, and to take a look at ways to either assess that or balance that as part of it.
There was questions over here. Councillor Agar and then Councillor Broad.
Well, I'll just counteract that one first. I don't think it's all coming to Sarnia and St. Clair. We all need jobs. Doesn't matter where you live. Anyways, so what happens if the county doesn't up their ante right now?
The short answer to that one is the county would be on the hook for it anyway. But by coming into place, it is the stage where we can assess it and look at it in a more responsible and planned manner. Back a number of years ago, we took a look at individually being able to restructure some of the debt. And the way the financial mechanisms are is they're linked to the counties. So at the current stage, we can't do, or the facility can't do some of its own restructuring without the support of the county. So we would like to better plan with the county to make sure that this doesn't actually cause a problem.
Follow up, Councillor Agar.
Microphone. It's not really a follow-up, but I was wondering if it would be possible to ask Mr. Pilarchio what his comments are on this, seeing as he's our finance guy.
Mr. Pilarchio, please.
Through the warden, just a little bit of a summary on the budget implications to keep it as really simple as possible. Basically, what you have is the CLCDC has, they estimated their expenditures to be approximately $5 million. $3 million is the revenues that they're approximately receiving. We provided them with a $640,000 grant, which was the additional revenue. Ideally, they'd like to basically look at increased tenant revenue to keep them in a balanced position, but it's going to take them about 18 to 36 months in order to get to the revenue from tenant revenue. So in the interim, they're looking for one-time funding, it appears to be, of approximately $1.35 million in order to keep them at a break-even position. I'm sure basically the question is going to come forward as to, well, how are you going to potentially fund the $1.35 million? There's a variety of ways that you can fund that $1.35 million. The reason we create reserves and reserve funds are for these contingency-related reasons. We do have a couple reserves that you can go dip into on a one-time basis, but to keep it very clear and transparent for everyone, ideally you would like to see that tenant revenue increase in order that you're not dealing with that funding gap. As far as basically the debt obligations that the county has, some years ago we backed a $17.2 million mortgage. And right now that mortgage is approximately about $14.8 million. We also have a $2 million, we have provided a $2 million line of credit to the facility, and right now that line of credit is sitting around $1.4 million. So the longer you don't have that tenant revenue in place, and the Councillor Agar is correct, basically my estimates are probably about another 4 months before they would exceed their line of credit. So hopefully those comments are helpful in explaining the situation.
Councillor Broad, please.
Thanks, Warden Marriott. My question is, how confident are you in your plan? Because you just made a comment that concerns me, is when you said the 1.35 million, we may have to come back and adjust that even further for the budget of 2025. That's really concerning to me, that you're not very confident in the plan that's in front of us. Maybe you can explain that comment, I guess.
Taking a look at how the situation was a number of years back when occupancy hit a lower level for this park, as well as taking a look at other similar parks, it can be quick or it can take a while. We were advised, and we took in a number of different scenarios where, as I mentioned, it could take 18 to 36 months to get this back up to that 95%. And so the request takes us from here until the end of March. And that's not, 18 months. So we may need to go further beyond that, but again, at that stage, we would like to be going through the strategic planning process to bring forward alternate solutions or alternate options that the council may want to take a look at that stage as well. So as we get closer to the end of this year, we want to have the potential options in front of council to consider it in case they're not happy with the 18 to 36 months progress.
Follow up, Councillor Broad.
Thank you, Warden Marriott. And that still concerns me, and here's my thoughts, and I'll make it a motion as far as that goes. Let's give them half of what they're asking for. I think they need to come back, let's say September, October, To me, I need a much better business plan with some more financials in there, because all I got's 11-page slide asking for $1.35 million. That's a lot of ask in an 11-page slide. And I think we need that information. I think we also, in my motion, I would ask that county staff, like, I know we forgave millions of dollars in the past to this organization. Larry just went through some stuff. Let's put those numbers down so that every county council member has those in front of them. And maybe by the September, October timeframe, we can get a report from staff. We can get a better detailed plan with financials from this group, and I'll make that a motion.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Agar seconds that. Discussion? Councillor Case, and then Councillor Bradley.
Yes, and Mr. Ward, maybe to add on to Councillor Broad's comments, I asked a question not that long ago here during budget exercise about tourism Sarnia-Lambton and how long they were still hooked into the lease at the tourism facility. We are getting to the point we have to start looking at paying ourselves back potentially. So I guess maybe if that information could be included, the amount of time that lease is still good for, and maybe looking at bringing some of our other organizations such as that back into this facility. Again, we might as well start paying ourselves back something if we're paying the rent anyway. So I'd like that information as well provided to council, and maybe any other opportunity to house some of our operations maybe in that facility as well. Don't get me wrong, I know it's a research park and that's what we all want to see in there, but at the same time, I'm interested to see from an economic standpoint where we sit and other facilities and in the amount of term left on those leases. So if the mover was okay in the seconder, I'd ask that to be added.
Yep, looks like it. Okay, Councillor Bradley, you had a question.
I can appreciate Mayor Broad's direction. I will say this research parks, this one's been in place now for 21 years, and Mayor Case was around as the warden when we rescued it, when Western didn't want to run it, or totally the building. This is not a good situation, we acknowledge that. But to have just 2 or 3 months to move forward, it's just not really trying to turn around a large ship. I think if council will take the leap of faith and look at what's being asked today, and then see what develops as we get to the end of the year. It gives, and by the way, I just want to mention, Katherine, how many staff do you have at this place?
The research park has 3 staff, including myself.
Which points to that normal thing you would do is you look at your staff. And I should also say that Mr. Tebow and Mr. Pacarachi are on the advisory board, and as is the city rep, Kelly Prevo. So I have trust and faith that we can make ground on this, but we need, I hate the phrase, but more runway to get to that place. And we also will be pursuing, particularly with the federal and provincial governments, bringing some of their projects into this building. And I agree with Councillor Mayor Case, if there are other opportunities with the county, and the county, to its credit, I believe its public is moving forward looking at a service moving there, which is a great thing for the park. I think no one is denying the value of it. So the question is, can we get to a better place in the next 9 months? And I think that would be a more appropriate motion, but I respect what Mayor Barad is saying.
Okay, any other questions before we call the vote? Seeing none, all those in favor?
You should record the vote.
Okay, recorded vote asked by Councillor Bradley. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Leger when she's ready.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't vote for it.
Just making sure my mic works. Councillor McRoberts? Yes. I have a yes. Councillor Miller? Yes. I have a yes. Councillor Sageman? Yes. I have a yes. Councillor Veen? Yes. I have a yes. Deputy Warden White? Yes. I have a yes. Councillor Agar? Yes. I have a yes. Councillor Atkinson? Yes. I have a yes. Councillor Bouchy? No. I have a no. Councillor Bradley? No. I have a no. Councillor Broad? Yes. I have a yes. Councillor Case? Yes. I have a yes. Councillor Cook? Yes. I have a yes. Councillor Dennis? No. I have a no. Councillor Ferguson? I have a yes. Councillor Hand? Yes. I have a yes. Councillor Loosely? Yes. I have a yes, and Warden Marriott? Yes. I have a yes. And that passes.
Okay, so thank you for your presentation, Dr. Albion and Derrek. And we have another presentation after this that's tied with you. So thank you very much. So the third delegation is Rob Cardis, President and CEO of Lambton College, Dr. David Muir, Associate Vice President, and Kelly Prevost, Director of Economic Development, City of Sarnia, and Matthew Sludwinski, Interim CEO of Sarnia-Lambton Economic Partnership. Welcome.
Good morning, Councillor Marriott and County Councillors. I'm Rob Cardis, and I'm here as the President and CEO of Lambton College, as well as the Vice Chair of the County of Lambton Community Development Corporation Board of Directors. On behalf of our delegation, I'd like to thank Lambton County Council for this opportunity to speak regarding the Western Sarnia-Lambton Research Park and its crucial importance to the Sarnia-Lambton community and specifically to Lambton College. The Research Park has a 20-year history of driving economic growth and diversification in Sarnia-Lambton. Research Park tenants and clients have made a lasting contribution to our community by growing new sectors and creating employment opportunities within them. I can't stress enough that these are companies, employment opportunities, and investments that could not have come to Sarnia-Lambton if we didn't have the Research Park. The facilities, equipment, and expertise made available by the Research Park are significant factors in our region's ability to attract companies and create research startups. Specifically at Lambton College, we have been ranked in the top 5 research colleges in Canada for 8 years running now. We are the only institution in Canada that can say that. The Research Park is one of the reasons we punch so far above our weight in research. Having use of the facilities and lab spaces in the Research Park allows us to take on large-scale projects and join research networks that we otherwise could not. We also attract students, researchers, and faculty members based on our research reputation. We've even been able to create academic programs based on the workforce needs of the new sectors attracted to our region by the Research Park. This is growth and development that truly benefits everyone in Lambton County. And it was great to see that we can count on your support in the next few months going forward. At this time, I would like to introduce my colleague from the board and Director of Economic Development at the Corporation of the City of Sarnia, Kelly Provost, to say a few words.
Thanks, Rob. Good morning, Warden Marriott, County Councillors, staff, and members of the public. As Rob mentioned, I'm Kelly Provost. I'm the Director of Economic Development with the City of Sarnia, and I'm pleased to be here in support of the Western Sarnia-Lambton Research Park today. The Research Park stands as a testament to our community's commitment to innovation and to collaboration, and it was founded on the belief that bringing together industry, academia, and government can drive economic prosperity in our community. Its unique facilities and collaborative environment help attract top talent and businesses from across Canada and around the globe. It plays an integral part in our investment attraction pitch when we look to bring new companies to this community. The park helps facilitate real and meaningful economic benefits, as you've seen today, that ripple throughout our communities. The Research Park helps generate high-quality jobs that provide employment opportunities for skilled professionals and graduates. These jobs not only contribute to household incomes in each of our communities, but also stimulate spending in our local businesses. The Research Park plays an important role in fostering entrepreneurship. They support startups and small businesses in bringing their ideas to market. It's this culture of innovation that drives new economic opportunities in our community and enhances our community's reputation as a center of excellence. But it's not just about the past or the present performance. The Research Park is an investment in our future. It's conducting valuable research and helping develop new technologies that are paving the way for sustainable economic development and addressing global challenges like climate change and resource scarcity. So in conclusion, the Research Park is more than just a facility. It's really a catalyst for economic growth, innovation, and collaboration in our communities. By continuing to build on its foundation, it can help drive growth and prosperity for Sarnia-Lambton for years to come. Thank you. I'll ask Dave Muir to join.
Good morning. Good morning, councillors. Good morning, Warden. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. As Rob had mentioned, my name is David Muir. I am Associate Vice President Innovation at Western University, and it's a pleasure to be here in support of the Western Sarnia-Lambton Research Park. My portfolio at Western includes the business development aspects of our research, which includes our research parks. We promote and represent our research parks as a research park across 3 campuses. That's the Advanced Manufacturing Park in South London, the Discovery Park near the university, and the Western Sarnia-Lambton Research Park. And we're very pleased to partner with the Western Sarnia-Lambton Research Park. We see research parks, the impact of universities and colleges as being paramount to our mission. And that includes regional and local economic development, for which the research parks are paramount. As a conduit for our inventions and our technologies to get to market, and as an attractor for companies using specialized resources and access to talent. I'm very impressed by the Western Sarnia-Lambton Research Park with its specialized facilities, with its focus in certain thematic areas, and in particular with the interaction and the integration with the city and the county. We have numerous collaborations with the Western Sarnia Research Park with Dr. Albion. Our research park director for the 2 parks in London is in close communication with Katherine. We share leads, we share marketing opportunities, we do numerous events together. We also have very close collaboration through our Faculty of Engineering and the Department of Chemical and Biochemical Engineering. There's a number of different companies that come to Sarnia-Lambton as a result, and it's our pleasure to continue to collaborate with the Western Sarnia-Lambton Research Park. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Matthew Slotwinski, Interim CEO with the Sarnia-Lambton Economic Partnership. As with everybody else, glad to be here in support of the Research Park, which also happens to be the home office for the Sarnia-Lambton Economic Partnership. The Research Park plays a pivotal role in economic development, especially when it comes to fostering innovation, attracting investments, and supporting the growth of emerging industries in Sarnia-Lambton. I would like to highlight the importance of the Research Park from an investment attraction standpoint, utilizing the Sarnia-Lambton Hybrid Chemistry Cluster as a focus industry. The success in driving new investment to Sarnia-Lambton in the clean, green, and sustainable chemistry or hybrid chemistry sector has relied heavily on the Research Park being a critical element within the commercialization hub concept that brings together Lambton College, the Western Sarnia-Lambton Research Park, Bioindustrial Innovation Canada, and our key development sites so that innovative companies can utilize community assets from the earliest stage of development to the time that they're fully commercializing their facilities. Companies may enter the commercialization hub at any stage, but almost every investment made in the hybrid chemistry sector has relied upon utilization of the Research Park and its lab, pilot, or office assets and related infrastructure in some way. When SLEP is pursuing a new lead, R&D capabilities and a commercialization ecosystem that can ensure a seamless transition from an idea to commercial process are often a critical request, especially as these companies are generally still developing their processes. This makes the Research Park a crucial asset to our local value proposition in attracting new investment and job creation. Origin Materials, which announced its first commercial-scale biochemical operation for the Bioindustrial Park Sarnia in 2017, exemplifies the impact of the Research Park. Around the same time, Origin Materials established a pilot facility at the Research Park. This facility allowed them to produce FDCA, which is a key bio-based chemical, and access office space while benefiting from the proximity to Bioindustrial Innovation Canada. While the pilot facility was operating for a handful of years and still continues to operate, the commercial facility took until 2023 to be fully operational. Throughout this period, the research park and its tenant ecosystem played a vital role in supporting Origin Materials' journey from research and engineering through full commercialization. Lastly, we are a community in need of transition. While we will see the sustainable chemistry bubble on the slide that you see grow in time, it will do so along with the net zero transition impacting all 4 of the major bubbles. The same commercialization hub concept can be applied to the net zero transition across all industries, and the research park will remain a critical element to our success in driving investment and innovation in these spaces. Along those lines, the research park is working with SLEP to access federal funding to significantly upgrade its lab facilities to drive net zero-based investment and job creation and impact across all of these areas. Thank you.
So just in closing, for over 2 decades, the Western Sarnia-Lambton Research Park has delivered on its mandate for our region. There is no doubt that its importance will only grow as our economy continues to diversify and transition, and that's reflected in the new leads and opportunities for growth that we're already seeing. As you've heard today, the Western Sarnia-Lambton Research Park is vital in attracting new companies and investment to Sarnia-Lambton. When a company asks why they should come here and invest in projects, facilities, and employment instead of going elsewhere, the answer is invariably involves the research park. This region and everyone in it needs a thriving research park. It is unquestionably a building block for our collective future. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Rob and Matt and Kelly and, yes, David, sorry. Any questions for the group? Councillor Hand.
I was wondering if the 2 other parks in the London area are experiencing the similar issues.
David, please.
The trend that Dr. Albion laid out in terms of particularly post-pandemic and particularly around office space is a trend across all research parks, including ours. So we have seen similar trends to what Dr. Albion laid out, particularly as it relates to our office space. We have been fortunate relative to some other parks that we have a decent pipeline of new companies coming in, but we have seen a much higher than average rate of turnover. And again, particularly as it relates to office space, and most of them specifically due to the pandemic work from home situation. So I would say yes, and we're fortunate that we have a pipeline of companies coming in.
Thank you. Deputy Warden White.
Thank you. This question is for Mr. Cardis. Thank you for being here and the work that you're doing on the board. In terms of research at the college, I know the diagram kind of illustrates fairly well the flow through with the research park, but from your perspective at the college, attracting research projects, is the research park a significant part of those opportunities, or do you find that the college would thrive regardless of whether or not there was a research park to possibly transition to?
I see the research park as vital to our research efforts. I really do. And as I said in my comments, as much as Katherine is generating leads and doing a great job of that, often leads, we will find leads, and the research park is often a reason why a company wants to work with Lambton College and ultimately set up shop here, whether it be office space, whether it be labs, whether it be a pilot facility. So I do very much see it as a real significant asset to our ability to not only attract companies and partners, but also government funding as part of being that top 5 research college. So I see it as an extremely important asset.
Any other questions? Councillor Broad.
Thanks, Warden Marriott. And I just want to be clear. My motion has nothing to do whether we need the research park or not. That is not the intent of that motion. The intent of that motion is we had a $1.35 million ask less than 2 months after our budget. My job and everybody's around this table is to review taxpayers' money that we're putting into this project. I'm not saying that we don't need it. Just a little more information to us will definitely help make me personally feel confident in what I'm doing. So there's no way that I'm against the research part. It's just, I just need a little more information to absorb that $1.35 million ask. Thank you.
Anybody else before we close off? Looks like we've exhausted it, so thank you again, group, for your presentation. So our next item, number 10, due to last-minute changes, Honorable Rob Flack is not going to be here, but we got a commitment from, I was just going to finish, Councillor Bradley, that MPP Bailey promised that he would be back in June, if not at County Council, at committee meeting. And he's going to try and bring back another commitment from Flack. Go ahead, Councillor Bradley.
Well, I can tell you I was really disappointed today. We first passed a motion in May of 2019 to ask the two MPPs to attend this place. During COVID, we still could have had them attend. A year ago, May, we passed another motion for them to attend to this place. And to have them not here today it's really disappointing. And I'm sure you share that feeling, but I just don't understand how difficult it is, 5 years, for this county council to meet with the two MPPs at the time. It's just not, it's not respect.
So from what MPP Bailey said, that the Premier asked him yesterday to be at this event in Wallaceburg. So he was here this morning at 7:30. He was here until 8:30 with us for breakfast. So. Okay, item number 11, minutes of council open session of April 3rd. Motion to adopt these minutes, please. Councillor Sageman and Councillor Bean seconds. All in favor? That's carried. Item number 12, Board of Health. Do we have Dr. Dewick? No. Okay. Dr. Dewick is unable to be here, so we'll deal with correspondence to receive and file. We have two items. Motion to receive and file both items. Councillor Case and Councillor Agar, all in favor? That's carried. And item B, information reports. Motion to receive and file both of these reports. Councillor Miller and Councillor Sageman, all in favor? That's carried. Item number 13, correspondence. Correspondence to receive and file. We have one item. Councillor Cook, seconded by Councillor Ferguson. All in favor? That'd be carried. Thank you. And 13B, correspondence from member municipalities. The first one is a letter from Amanda Gubbles, Chief of CAO of the Township of Warwick. And the second one is a letter from Mayor Bradley, City of Sarnia. Would you like to make a motion to receive and file both these? Councillor Miller moves, seconded by Councillor Atkinson. Councillor Bradley.
Well, obviously, Mr. Warden, I want to speak to my letter to you about the homeless. And I posed 3 questions there, and I'm looking for specific responses to those questions. Is the County of Lambton prepared with additional resources if City Council's motion on Rainbow Park or any other park stands, or any other location? If yes, what resources and funding are needed to deal with those in the parks, relocating them to other shelter accommodations? And the third question is, or does the County of Lambton have a different approach on encampments?
Ms. Colasandi, please.
Through you, Warden Marriott, to Councillor Bradley. I'll start with the first question. Is the County of Lambton prepared with additional resources? There are presently 145 shelter beds available within Lambton County. 76 of those beds are county funded through the Inn of the Good Shepherd, and 69 are funded through the community organization of River City Vineyard. In the last 12 months, the Lodge and the Overflow Shelter has only been at a 73% utilization rate and only 44% for the last month. Last night, we had no one in the overflow shelter. So although some individuals state they want to come into the overflow shelter, we were only seeing 5 or 6 a night. So the overflow shelter was scheduled to close May 2nd because of this utilization. But despite this, we are going to try to keep it open for the next month or so. More information to come on that. For the second question, what resources and funding are needed to deal with those in the park? County staff don't have the authority to relocate individuals from a park or from anywhere else. Our outreach workers will continue to attend the individuals in the park and offer support services and make them aware of the available shelter space. Our county workers are going twice a day to Rainbow Park on top of visiting anyone else that may be living outside or needing their services. But they are offering these services of available resources. If the offer's declined, they continue to go back and ask them if they'd like to move, but they don't have any authority or ability to relocate those individuals. I wanted to note that Lambton Public Health also attends the park and visits the individuals roughly about 3 times a week. They're going, and sometimes more. Sometimes we're seeing them daily, and they're offering the supports as well. So the county directly operates or supports dozens of homeless-related programs across the community. These are more than just the outreach services. We also have tenancy support programs, emergency housing, transitional housing, scatter site supportive housing, the Housing and Homeless Resource Center, which is open Monday to Friday from 12 till 4:30, and those hours are going to be expanded during the summer. We provide intensive case management to those we've recently placed into housing, and many more. More than 1,000 unique individuals have been served through these programs in the last year alone. I also wanted to note that we may have to divert dollars from some of those programs in order to keep the overflow shelter open, because it costs us approximately $100,000 a month to keep it open. Your last question around, does the County of Lambton have a different approach on encampments? The county outlined their approach to encampments in the report to council in November of 2023. Nothing has changed since that report came out. We'll continue to offer assistance to the city, including assistance in forming a protocol or a plan for addressing encampments. In addition, the county can continue to offer its assistance to those individuals in the park through the various support programs that we offer. Since launching our HIFIS system, which is where we track the number of individuals who are experiencing homelessness, right now we have 350 individuals there. Since launching that, we worked with over 1,200 unique individuals. So people are moving through the system, people are moving into housing. Unfortunately, the inflow is a little bit higher than the outflow. The county is going to continue to offer those programs, though. Since June of last year, when we started, June of 2020 actually, we've progressed more than 650 individuals into more permanent housing, and we'll hopefully continue to do that. We started our outreach program in July of 2022, and since then we've worked with over 396 unique individuals, and they've had over 1,600 engagements with these individuals. So certainly they're moving them along the continuum. It's just not as fast as we would like, and we know that we need to build supportive housing in order to move more individuals. And that's our long-term goal, and I think we really need to remain focused on that long-term goal.
Reality is the long-term goal is not working. The number of units created in Lambton County in the last 4 or 5 years. And the situation has changed since that report in November. So I was expecting a response that would say, yes, we will. If City Council stands by their motion they passed, then there's a big issue with the people in that park. And I'm not hearing anything today that says that you're willing to change the way you're doing things or address these particular issues. I don't know what a unique individual is.
Means how we count them. We count everyone once. So even though we had 1,600 engagements, that 1,600 engagements was with 396 individuals. So we're not counting people twice. That's all it means.
You've been often quoted as saying that there is adequate and proper shelter within the urban area. Do you still stand by that? And I mean spaces that are accessible, accept diversity, and all the other aspects of unique individuals. So do you still stand by that statement that there is no issue as it relates to shelter, appropriate shelter in Sarnia?
Ms. Colasanti, please.
Through you, Warden Marriott, to Councillor Bradley. As I noted, last night there was no one in our overflow shelter and we had 28 beds available. So yes, I would say we do have access to shelter beds. I mean, theoretically, there are some individuals that are not going to come into congregate care no matter what we do. Many of the individuals, the original individuals who are living in Rainbow Park, have been living rough for many years. They were just scattered about the city, and I'm not saying that's right. No one should be living outside. But these individuals are not coming into congregate care, and they're not coming in to use our services. So it's very challenging for us to move them into any type of housing if they choose to live rough. So as of today, yes, we have enough beds if individuals choose to come in and use the overflow shelter system.
Councillor Agar.
Just a comment and a question. Valerie, you've got the toughest job in the whole county, and I respect you for that. You're doing a great job. I just have a question. When you go up to these individuals that are living in tents or on the floor, wherever, do they have a reason why they do not want to go to a shelter? Because obviously there is spots available. Is there a reason? That's my only question. Thank you.
Ms. Colasanti, please.
Through you, Warden Marriott, to Councillor Agar. They have various reasons. Some individuals just don't want to come into congregate care. Some are heavily addicted, and they want to be able to utilize drugs 24/7. In our shelter system, in the Inn of the Good Shepherd, people are able to bring drugs into the shelter, but they have to put them in a lockbox as they put all of their possessions. And then when they go out, they can take them. But there are certain hours of the night. We can't have people coming and going at all times. People need to be able to sleep. So for some, there is that. For some, they suffer with perhaps undiagnosed mental health issue. So there really are various issues. It's not the same for any individual.
Thank you. Councillor McRoberts, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Warden. Ms. Colasanti, I'm not a health expert, but you did mention mental health, and we've had a discussion and many comments have been they have a choice to come in and stay. If they want to come, they will come spend the night. Can we agree that not all of them are capable of making that intelligent choice, that positive mental health choice? I mean, if they're living in a tent and they're doing drugs, they've made bad choices, so they've set a precedent of not being able to make a healthy choice for themselves. How do we get past this barrier? Do we force OHIP to look after mental health more? How do we house them in the meantime if they're not capable of making that intelligent decision? Are we just leaving them where they are and then moving them from park to park to park? Or what do we do with them? Because most are not capable of making that good choice.
Ms. Colasanti, please.
Through you, Warden Marriott, to Councillor McRoberts. That's a challenging question. As I noted before, we can't force anyone to move. Even if someone has a mental health issue, we certainly can't force anyone. We do work closely with the MHEART team. They will come out and they make that assessment. If someone, I believe, is deemed to be mentally, incompetent, they would then take them to the hospital for an appropriate assessment. But we, certainly the county can't do that. We also work very closely with Canadian Mental Health Association, and their staff often come with us out to Rainbow Park. We've expanded their contract in the last month to try and work with more individuals from the park and from the overflow shelter and the resource center. So they are attending. We also have the mobile bus that comes to, it doesn't attend the parks, but it does go out to, I believe, Willie's Motel, and it also goes to the Housing and Homeless Resource Center. So we try to convince people to go there where they can see a mental health professional who may be able to have more resources. But unfortunately, if someone chooses to stay and the MHEART team is not able to move them to the hospital or something, there's nothing else that county staff are able to do.
Follow up, Councillor McRoberts.
Thank you, Warden. So what do we do with these folks? If in Sarnia they vote to evict them out of the parks, what's our suggestion? I have professionals in front of me. What do we do with these folks? Because they're going to scatter. How do we help them? If they can't help themselves and we can't force them to help themselves, what do we do?
Ms. Colasanti, please.
Through you, Warden Marriott, to Councillor McRoberts. Again, that's a really challenging question, and there's no easy answer for that. We would continue to send our outreach workers out. Typically, we're able to find individuals. We do use a 511 type system to be able to, for individuals who allow us to be able to find the last place they were at. We try to revisit, we try to send the same outreach workers so they can start to build a trusting relationship with them. As you know, many individuals have lost all trust in, certainly in government workers. So we try to work with them, sometimes on a daily basis to go back out, make that connection, offer some basic needs, some food, those types of things, and try to make that connection. But beyond that, at this point, there's nothing that would legally allow us to move anybody into any type of institution or anywhere. That change has to come, I would believe, at a provincial level, and certainly outside of the scope of social services, unfortunately. But we would definitely continue to engage with them and offer all services. And again, continue to engage with EMS and the MHART, that type of thing.
Okay, first Councillor Dennis and then Deputy Warden White.
Thank you, Warden Marriott, through you to Ms. Colasetti. Do you have any reason to believe that other municipalities have bused their downtrodden to this area? The reason why I say that is a number of people seem to believe that. I made a visit to Rainbow Park and I talked to a number of the residents there, and a number of them said to me that they weren't from Sarnia. Some people swear that they've seen them being dropped off. And I would hate to think that other municipalities would do that, to maybe rid themselves of some of the problems that they're going through and make them our problem. But I'm sure you've fielded those questions before, maybe not publicly like the one I'm throwing at you right now, but do you have reason to believe that other municipalities are sending their downtrodden to Lambton to have us deal with their problems?
Ms. Colasetti, please.
That question does come up quite often. And when we meet with individuals, if we have a release and they allow us, we ask them questions. And that's one of the first questions we ask if they're not familiar to us. Are you from the Sarnia-Lambton area? Because if they're not, we try to see if they have family elsewhere, connections, and we'll work with them to, send them back to the community where they may have those connections. As I noted before, most of the individuals in the park have been on our by name list for several years, are traditionally from this area and want to stay here. There are some individuals who may have moved away who've come back because they have a family or a connection here. We sometimes see that, or individuals who are incarcerated for a number of years but come back because this was their home. But typically we don't, and if we do find someone, again, we try to return them to their own community. You may recall City of London had the same complaint that Sarnia was shipping individuals, or Lambton County, to London, which we absolutely weren't. There is a little bit of natural movement between, Chatham, Kent, Lambton, and London, a little bit, but for the most part, the individuals we're seeing are from the Lambton County area.
Deputy Warden White, please.
Thank you, Warden Marriott. Thank you, Ms. Colasetti, and thank you to my colleagues for asking such important questions today. I have a couple, and I really just, I think they're just questions that are floating around the community as well that we could perhaps just have covered off today to help, again, like you just did, maybe settle some misconceptions, or at least to provide a little bit more insight as to what our options are. So, you touched on it already, but if you had a magic wand and could create the perfect policy, what would that look like, and from what level of government would that be? I'll leave that question as a standalone, and then I'll continue.
Ms. Colasetti, please.
Through you, Warden, to Councillor White, if I had a magic wand, we would be able to build supportive housing much faster than we are. We would be able to find the land, zone it properly, and be able to start building, because we know that's the only solution, is to have affordable housing that people can move into and wrap those supports around them. I really do believe in housing first if you have the supports. So we would need 24/7 nursing staff, mental health staff, harm reduction, those types of things. So that also comes with a steep price tag. But that is the solution, and that's what we need to move towards, but it's going to take time.
So, yeah, thank you. Just as a follow-up to that, and then I have two more questions, I can wrap them up together. Does that not sound like institutions that have been previously closed, that perhaps moved people out of supportive care at some point and then essentially pushed them onto the street?
Ms. Calatani.
Through you, Warden, to Councillor White. I can't really speak to institutions, but supportive housing is everyone has their own safe, affordable home. They have their own apartment, their own kitchen. They may have the option of, you know, sharing a communal meal with a group of friends or something in a common kitchen on a Friday night, but they really have their own home. It's their very own, their own bedroom. They pay their own bills, you know, with some assistance. So I think it is very different to institutions, and is that it gives them their own permanent home.
Thank you for that, and I'm very much looking forward to the day that we are able to break ground on that. In the meantime, though, given how complex this is and how much time it's taking, and the reality that this situation continues to grow nationwide, continent-wide, two questions. Who, if anyone, is doing this right? Because I think when I look around the continent, everybody's scratching their heads. We're pitting neighbors against each other. We're pitting municipalities against each other. We're all just pointing fingers, and nobody seems to be getting it right. So if anyone is doing it right, who might be that municipality? And in the meantime, is it time to address this issue with temporary, an assembly of cabins or similar options? Again, it leads to it ties into the other question, because that's an example that is often brought forward to us, is what so-and-so is doing, what this community is doing in regards to temporary cabins and other options similar.
Ms. Calatani, would you like to attempt that one?
Through you, Warden, to Councillor White. We do talk to the other municipalities, and you're right, everyone sort of has very different approaches to this, and I think every community is different and the individuals living in that community. But for an example is the City of Windsor opened housing and homeless hubs. They call them that, the 4-H's, and it was touted as a best practice, and that's when we opened the Housing and Homeless Resource Center based on that model, and we have had some great success. It's open every day, all day. Individuals can go there and get, you know, the supports. It doesn't address, you know, home yet, but it's a start. So that one was a best practice, and we look at other best practices. I don't think anyone has completely eradicated homelessness. You know, communities where they use housing first, like Finland, did well for a while because they built housing, you know, and they were able to do full housing first. But in Ontario, everyone is struggling with these same issues. I mean, there are some larger issues around addictions, you know, that need to be addressed, and mental health that needs to be addressed, and that is, I think that's a provincial issue. So advocacy would be probably helpful. But when you ask about things like tiny cabins and tiny homes, I'll give you an example. Chatham-Kent just approved 50 what they call transitional cabins. Chatham-Kent never had a shelter. In Lambton, we had River City Vineyard, and we had the Inn of the Good Shepherd and the Haven that were open for years. There were no shelters in other communities. St. Thomas didn't have a shelter, and nor did Chatham-Kent. So in the absence of that, they opened temporary shelters, and they're looking to do something more permanent. And so what they'll be doing is these 50 cabins, which are a hybrid shelter. When those 50 cabins open, they will have no congregate care at all, no congregate shelter. And when those 50 cabins are full, they will have individuals on a wait list who are living rough and experiencing homelessness. They will have outreach workers, they will do the same. So we have 75 congregate care shelter beds. They may have that. It's just a different approach. I would say, frankly, our community doesn't have the dollars to do both. And even in Chatham-Kent, they own the land. It's already appropriately zoned. They're saying it's 2 years out from being built. So even if we decided today to shut down our congregate shelters and move to that model, we don't own any land where this would need to be. The zoning would take quite some time. I would say we would be similar to the City of Windsor that announced their new hub today, and they're announcing, I believe, 5 years out from doing that. We would be several years, no matter how quickly we moved. So certainly there are a lot of options, but you have to take that into account. So for us, expanding our congregate care in the meantime, that shelter to try to deal with the inflow seemed to be the best and fastest situation.
Councillor Bradley.
I'll bring a motion after these comments. I want to come back to my basic question why I wrote this letter to County Council. Is the county prepared, if City Council's motion stands next Monday, is the county prepared if Council decides to vacate that park and say no other parks can be used? Is the county prepared to absorb whatever number of people are in those parks? And is there a plan to deal with it?
Ms. Colasani, please.
Through you, Warden, to Councillor Bradley. As I noted, there are still going to be hopefully 76 county-funded shelter beds available in the community. It's hard to say with certainty because the numbers change on a daily basis. Even though our by name list has stayed at about 380 for the last few months, we see 70 people coming in and out of that. So, you know, I can't say with absolute certainty, but yes, I believe for those individuals who choose to come inside, there are enough beds available within our community to be able to support them.
One last follow-up, Councillor Bradley.
Wait, I didn't know we were limited. I would like to propose a motion. And it's, I sent an article out probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, a lengthy article about the homeless. And I would agree, we're not solving it. We're mitigating. And it's extremely frustrating. And citizens are very frustrated. And they weren't dealing with this frustrated. But if you look at that article I sent out, the one place we could point to was Edmonton, Alberta, where the province has accepted the responsibility to be the lead on this issue. And I talked to the CEO last week. We've got 444 municipalities that are struggling with this issue. And I've heard from my friend in Petrolia, Watford Warwick, that they've got the same issues on a minor scale. I'm proposing that we ask the province to treat as an urgent issue, just as we did, and they changed their position as it related to violence against women, to treat this as an emergency and to take the lead and bring all the municipalities, health units, and other agencies together to come up with a comprehensive plan to at least move forward on this issue, instead of allowing 444 municipalities to paddle in the water and going no place and trying to deal with this crisis in their communities. So that's my motion.
Okay, seconded by Councillor McRoberts. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, we'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That would be carried. So we have a motion on the floor for these two correspondents. We had a mover and a seconder. I guess I should have dealt with that before I did the motion, but all in favor of the original motion of the opposed, if any, that's carried as well. That moves us to item number 14, information reports. We have Social Services, a motion to receive and file information report dated May the 1st regarding homelessness prevention department funding. Second, moved by Councillor Bean, second by Councillor Ferguson. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And number 15, items not requiring a motion, Sarnia-Lambton Economic Partnership Board minutes dated January the 30th. Councillor Case and Councillor Cook, all in favor? It's carried. And number 16, Committee of the Whole minutes. A motion to receive and file those. Councillor Atkinson and Councillor Sageman, all in favor? That's carried. And item number 17, we have to lift this motion and receive and file. We dealt with it in the previous Committee of the Whole minutes, but motion to lift. Councillor Broad, Councillor Cook, seconds, all in favor. It's carried. Motion to receive and file. Councillor Bean, Councillor Loosely, all in favor. That's carried. We have no notice of motions, I believe. Item number 19, other business. Councillor Broad.
Thank you, Warden Marriott. I bring great news today. Three Oaks Respite Cabin were involved in a in a program with BSF where there was 3 running for the province of Ontario for $25,000 grant. And I'm here to say that they were actually won their division in Ontario, and so they will be receiving $25,000. I do want you to know the Bergsma family wants to thank everybody in Lambton County because there was obviously a number of people that voted for them. There was 10,000 votes for them, and second place was within 100. So that's how close it was, and tells you how important it is on every vote. And just for you that don't know what Three Oaks Respite Cabin is, their mission statement is pretty clear. Three Oaks Cabin exists to enhance and support the mental, emotional, spiritual well-being of individuals primarily involved in agriculture and first responding communities who are struggling with forms of stress and anxiety. And what has happened, just a little quick history on it, Three Oaks Respite Cabin was developed by the Bergsma family, who unfortunately one of their sons passed away. And rather than just allowing it to go by, here's a family that's putting their own money along with other contributions in and supplying a facility that will help with mental health issues. So congratulations to the Bergsma family for the $25,000 grant, and thank you, County of Lambton.
Thank you for that, Councillor Bradley.
Yeah, I have to leave for a funeral, as Mayor Kirkland did. But would you like us to pass a motion officially so the warden can pass on our thanks for what they're doing?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Let you move it. And I'll second it.
Okay, moved by Councillor Broad, second by Councillor Bradley, that we have that correspondence. All in favor? That's carried. Item number 20, notice of bylaws. Ms. Leger, please.
Yep, thank you, Warden Marriott. It is moved by Councillor Case and seconded by Councillor Cook that bylaw 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 of 2024 as circulated be read as a first and second time.
All in favor? That's carried.
It is moved by Councillor Case and seconded by Councillor Cook that bylaw 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 of 2024 as circulated be taken as read for a third and final time.
All in favor? That's carried. Look for a motion to adjourn. The next meeting will be Wednesday, June the 5th. 2024, within camera set to begin at 9 a.m. Look for a mover for that. Councillor Bean and Councillor McRoberts, all in favor? That's carried. And at this time, this is our last meeting for someone that we've all got to know well, Miss Jane Joris. Congratulations to you, Jane, on your retirement from the County of Lambton. You have served the county in a number of positions since 1996. Including that of supervisor, administrator, and most recently, general manager, long-term care division. You will be dearly missed by all your friends and colleagues. And at this time, if I could,
Speech.
thank you again, Jane. Please join me with O Canada.
True patriot love. we stand on guard for thee. God, keep our land glorious and free.